Hey, Archie, I've been hearing about this concept of revenge spending, but I'm also hearing now about revenge saving. What is that all about?
Well, Rob, that's a great question. And it can be a bad thing, it can be a productive thing, but let's dive into the details. Weekly wisdom to help you retire and stay that way. This is Last Paycheck. Welcome back to the Last Paycheck podcast, brought to you by Hoxton Planning and Management. We're your hosts, CFP professionals Archie Hoxton and Rob Hoxton. And today we're going to be talking about revenge, specifically revenge saving and revenge spending. The difference is, maybe you've heard of this. The term came around after COVID. Maybe you haven't. But it's something I think a lot of people do naturally as we sort of swing back and forth between different kind of financial moods. And so, yeah, it's an interesting concept, but it can actually potentially wreak havoc on your financial situation as anything kind of extreme can. So,
Yeah, I had never heard of revenge spending or revenge saving. I've since learned that revenge spending is something that came out of COVID when people were locked down and, felt deprived. And so they kind of went on a spending splurge. I think of it kind of like during the holidays, I get a little carried away, like many of us do, with the diet. I eat a little bit too much of the wrong stuff. And then right after the holidays, for about a day, I don't eat anything.
yeah.
Right. And which is not sustainable, of course. And so it's like this pendulum swings. I go from overindulging to, very restrictive behavior. And I think it's probably some of the same psychology as what we're talking about with revenge saving.
Yeah. I mean, around the holidays, you're thinking, gosh, it's the holidays. I'm going to eat. After COVID, maybe it was like, gosh, I can do things now. Gosh darn it, I'm going to do them.
And the government just dropped a bunch of cash in my account.
Yeah, I've got free money.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, and it is tempting. And then on the flip side, there's revenge saving, which is kind of the opposite of that, which is getting worried about maybe having some fear about the financial conditions in the world and worried about, what's going to happen in the future. So I'm going to get really tight with my money and save as much as I can.
Yeah, it's kind of people, I think, there's so much in the press and so much that you see in social media that just it's disquieting. It seems like there's turmoil. Maybe there is turmoil. Maybe some of it's just blown out of proportion. But I think there's a sense of uneasiness among a lot of people. I mean, we're seeing it in our conversations and meetings with clients. There's just a general sense that things aren't going very well.
Mm-hmm.
And it certainly seems to me that they're going pretty well. The markets are doing well, at least as of this recording. The economy is doing pretty well. Inflation seems to be coming down. The inflation rate, prices are still elevated, but the rate of price increases has slowed. So relatively speaking, things seem to be going pretty well, but people, I think, feel or have the sense that they don't have much control over what's going on externally.
Right.
And one of the things that people can do is they can control their spending, and that gives them a greater sense of well-being, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, to go back to the diet reference, you've been splurging, you're starting to feel icky, maybe you're bloated, you're like, oh gosh, I feel like sugared out every day. Oh. And you step on the scale and you're like, oh yeah, no, this isn't right. I'm heading down the wrong path. And you do something really extreme and unsustainable. And when looked at sort of in moderation, either one of these is they can be good. I mean, it's good to save. If you start to feel a pinch at the grocery store, like many people are right now struggling with that, not a bad idea to say, all right, let's try to save a little bit more. But there's definitely a balance that you have to strike if you can. And you don't want to swing kind of too far one direction or the other. But I think that, having that sense of control is great. So
Well, yeah, and anytime that you feel uneasy and you're able to take some action, to take some steps to improve your situation, that can be very liberating,
Yeah.
right? And it's when we know that, or we sense that there's something wrong, and we stick our heads in a hole and we don't do anything about it. That's when that stress gets to be much greater, because there's an additional fear of the unknown, a sense that you should be doing something and you're not doing something. So I really like this idea that this period of excess spending has been perhaps replaced by a sense of, maybe we need to write the course and do a little excess saving.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I'm not sure who the revenge is on. I didn't quite get that, but
I think the revenge is on, it's sort of like the revenge spending is revenge on the idea of not being able to go out and have fun and spend money,
okay.
maybe on the shutdowns or something.
Because I was thinking
hard to-
it was like when you're a part of a married couple, and let's just call it like it is, and you're the guy, and you do something really stupid and you make your wife mad, and she goes out and gets even with you by spending on something that seems frivolous to you, but you got to keep your mouth shut, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's only fair. You did something dumb.
That's right. So
She'll
there's
go
going to
out
be
and get
some
something
revenge.
that kind of rights the scales again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to look at it.
I don't know. I don't know. I was trying to figure that out as we were reading up on this. What would a revenge spending? What would revenge spending look like?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important. I mean, the way I see it is, I'm a big believer in balance, the middle way. That it's good to not engage too much in either one of these, but actually balance them both all the time. It's easier said than done, because we all go through periods of time where we're like, I just want to splurge. I want to spend some money, or you're forced to splurge, and it's not really a splurge. It's like your HVAC unit dies. You're going to have to splurge and get a new one because you got to keep your house temperature right. But I think it's easy to sort of end up in a pendulum. And really, if you can just, instead of the pendulum being like this, if you can be a little more like this, always be saving, always have, things like an emergency fund. You've always got an emergency fund. You know that you don't need to do revenge saving. If you never spend your emergency fund and you save up and have fun money, then you can do some revenge spending. You just have some limits attached to it that are premeditated.
I think it's also helpful to know, Archie, that if you find yourself doing this revenge saving, and maybe going from one extreme, excessive spending, revenge spending, and then swinging to revenge spending, and we're not psychologists or therapists. We should make it very clear that we are not that, though we do talk to people about their feelings about money.
Mm-hmm.
There's apparently a well-known sort of concept in psychology called the pendulum effect, and it's where we have this tendency to swing back and forth. So if you're feeling that, know that you're not alone.
Oh yeah, I feel that all the time. I've noticed that in myself. From one extreme to another, it's very easy to get into this kind of like back and forth, and maybe it's you get bored or you get worried or something triggers you to start swinging the other way.
So let's say we want to, if we feel guilty for spending, and we want to sort of channel that energy, because it can be positive. That can be a very positive thing if you feel like you've been overspending and you want to do something about it. What are some of the things, Archie, that we can do to take advantage of that and improve our financial situation without going way too far?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, like, maybe to define first what going too far might look like. It could look like total deprivation and cutting costs on things that maybe you shouldn't cut costs on. Just a shot in the dark, the quality of your food or something like that, things that are important, clothing for your children, obviously, it depends on where you want to cut costs, and everybody's got a different value system. But if you're taking sort of a deprivation route, that's I think where it goes too far. But if you want to channel it well, I think it depends on your individual circumstances.
How about this? I mean, if you've been spending too much and you've like racked up a little bit of credit card debt, maybe you've spent down your emergency fund. What if you just start by rebuilding your emergency fund?
That'd be the perfect place to start. I would
Yeah,
say.
like that 3 to 6 months worth of liquid, immediately accessible funds that are there in case the unforeseen happens, like that HVAC system or something fails. And, you want to be able to pay for that and not go into debt necessarily. So maybe start with that. Rebuild your emergency fund.
Another great place that I would say is almost a perfect next step. Could be the first step, depending on if you already have some emergency funds there, would be dealing with debt, assessing your debt, probably paying off consumer debt. Because debt is the number one, we've talked about a scalable lifestyle in the past. Debt is the number one barrier to being able to scale your lifestyle up and down. If you have no debt, I mean, you can run it down to like groceries, gas, taxes,
Housing,
you can get your costs really low. But if you have debt, if you've got a $1,500 a month in car payments, credit card payments and stuff like that, I mean, you're just going to be in that student loans. You're going to be in that cycle. So looking at paying off some debt is a great next step.
And it's hard. I mean, I think of like after the holidays, I'll look at the credit card bill and I feel exactly the same way I did when I was in the 2nd grade or 3rd grade or 4th grade, whatever. And the teacher handed us the report card. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're like, ugh. Yeah. And after the holidays, that's when you tend to get that D or F on that report card, right? So it's like, there it is. There's the debt, and you got to face it head on and put on your big boy pants or your big girl pants and get that under control.
Yeah, it's like you look at the credit card after the holidays and then you step on the scale and it's just back-to-back disappointments.
That's right. Oh my gosh. But another thing you can do is sort of review your investment mix.
Yeah.
Right? How are you do you have too much cash that's earning nothing and not outpacing inflation? I mean, this is also a financial move that you can make that can help you feel better if you're getting a handle on that.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing regarding investments would be, if you're most likely doing automated contributions to like a 401k, that's a good place if you're feeling like you need to, increase your savings a little bit, you splurged a little too much. Using a savings tool that directs your money like a 401k, it directs your money. It goes directly from payroll to the 401k. It never hits your bank account. That's a great way to say I'm not gonna have that money. It's not gonna show up in my account. I can't spend it. That's a very productive and seamless way to kind of improve if you need to. And this is also like if you've already kind of looked. This I would almost put as you have your emergency fund, you've got debt paid off or at a manageable level, you've checked up on your investments. Now it's like, okay, let's set the 401k. Let's set the automated savings up so that there's no temptation to spend that money.
There's another interesting concept for this that comes right out of, I see it as coming right out of the diet situation. And that is, when you're on a diet for a long time, every once in a while, all of the professionals will tell you, you got to every once in a while splurge a little bit.
Yeah.
Go have that ice cream. But after you have the ice cream, don't make that a daily habit.
Right.
One of the things that you can do financially is to set up, I've heard it called a joy fund. It's kind of corny, but
Your
it's
money fund.
Yeah, where you set a little bit of money aside from each paycheck where when it's time to do a trip or to have a little enjoyment in your life, you have those funds ready and available to do that. So that's another
Yeah.
way to gain some control over your spending, feel confident, and not so worried about all of the chaos going on in the world around you.
Yeah.
It can really pay off.
Well, and that's another good way to narrow the swinging of the pendulum. Because if while you're feeling very saving oriented, revenge saving oriented, you are setting money, earmarking money for when that pendulum swings back. So that way you're not kind of derailing and sabotaging yourself when the pendulum swings back, you've already planned for it.
You spend from your joy fund, and when it's gone, it's gone.
Right. And so you're kind of going from this where you're like kind of almost destructive. You're sort of like productive, saving a little more, dealing with debt, and then over here, spending money that you've already earmarked for fun and you feel good about, and you know it's not a part of the big picture of your financial life. It's not contributing towards important goals. So
Good stuff.
yeah. And then the last thing, we always harp on this, we're big believers in the financial planning process, is having a financial plan. This is the best way to make sure that when you're feeling like, oh, I really need to save more. If you have a financial plan, you look at it, you say, no, my current savings is actually adequate. I'm doing good. I'm in good shape. I don't actually really need to do that. Same thing on the flip side. If you're feeling like that revenge spending, you know, hey, I can spend this much and not blow things up, not delay my retirement, not jeopardize my income in retirement. So the financial planning process it gives you the knowledge that you need, the awareness that you need of your situation to feel at peace about it and make decisions with confidence. So anyway, I think that's probably all the time we've got for this topic. I hope you enjoyed it. We have a lot of listeners that aren't subscribed, so please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave us a comment if you have thoughts or questions about the topic, or if you have something you'd like us to do an episode on, let us know in the comments.
Hit the bell for notifications.
Yep, we release new episodes every Wednesday, and then share it with your family and friends, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. You've been watching Last Paycheck, weekly wisdom to help you retire and stay that way. If you like this show, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Last Paycheck is available anywhere you get your podcasts.